This morning, my job is to tell you the narrative, really, as briefly as I can. I've been given 10 minutes, I think I might be 12, of where this work came from and how far we've got with it to date. The Barrow Cadbury Trust has Quaker roots. Anna's explained some of the history of that. The Transition to Adulthood Alliance is the Trust's current iteration really of the commitment to criminal justice. The T2A Alliance focuses on the young age group of 18 to 25, and the Trust relationship to the Alliance is that the Trust set it up and we drive and serve it. I'll tell you a little bit more about the Alliance in a few minutes, but it's very much more than the contribution of the Trust to oiling its wheels. I'm going to give you the brief story of where the work came from, where we're up to, and what we're going to be doing next. I had a quick scan of the guest list, and I've got no intention of telling you all in detail what you all know already, save to remind everybody, as Anna just has, that in the age group we're talking about, that age group constitutes a third of those sent to prison every year, and that 70% of them are reconvicted within a year of release. And this really has got to change. So, in 2004, the Trust talked to a number of major players in the criminal justice world, asking where the Trust could best have impact on an underserved group. And the answer came back very clearly: young adults. So we set up a commission which reported 3 key findings and recommendations. Firstly, the establishment of transition to adulthood teams to act as a link between child and adult criminal justice systems. No adequate arrangements were in place to assist the transition in any systemic way. Secondly, that maturity of young adults is taken into account in the arrest and sentencing process. It's commonsensical and known to all of us that people do not miraculously morph from childhood into fully mature adults on their 18th birthday. And thirdly, that improved health, housing and education should be provided that's specific for young adults. Evidence is very strong that young offenders have an educational deficit in many cases, high rates of health, mental health and behavioural diagnoses, and that the lack of secure and appropriate housing leads to a likelihood of reoffending. I mean, it really isn't rocket science. So what happened? Well, everyone, even the politicians, broadly agreed, which seemed very good news. So what then happened? Well, nothing much happened at all. And so that's why the Transition to Adulthood Alliance was born, based on the principle that many voices speaking as one are more powerful than lots of us speaking separately. And the Alliance was set up with the aim of raising awareness of the problems faced by young adults in the criminal justice system and to secure policy change to improve their lives. I'm not going to list the Alliance partners. Many of you, nearly all of you, are in the room. Safe to say it's built on a triangulation of practice organisations, policy-based organisations and campaigners, which is, we think, has proved to be a very powerful combination. The Alliance published a manifesto in November 2009 illustrating 10 principles for dealing effectively with the 18 to 25 age group and their age-appropriate and their age-related needs. So an evidence base is being built across the country by lots of organisations actually, but one major contribution to this are 3 pilots wrapping appropriate and holistic services around individual offenders delivered through multi-agency working. And the first of these is in Birmingham, and it's statutory-led by the Staffordshire and West Midlands Probation Trust, working with 17 to 24-year-olds, both in custody and in the community. And the second pilot is a third sector-led pilot run by St Giles Trust, It's mainly working with 18 to 21-year-olds in the Youth Offender Institution in Rochester, and its delivery model is using all qualified ex-offenders as mentors and doing motivational work. And the third pilot is led by YSS, they're here today as well, but that's a very mature relationship in partnership with West Mercia Probation Trust, so effectively really a jointly led statutory and third sector initiative, working with 16 to 24-year-olds with low to medium level needs. It's community-based work with a very significant volunteer base, so the big society in action. So what are we doing about establishing the value of all of this? We have three forms of evaluation running alongside these pilots. The first is a formative evaluation, service user and practitioner focus. Oxford University Criminology Department have been running this evaluation alongside the work from the beginning, both evaluating it and influencing its development. Secondly, Catch-22 have been undertaking a more classic outcomes evaluation, measuring impact and success. And thirdly, very importantly, Matrix have been doing cost-benefit analyses on value for money and cost savings to the public purse. Last year's piece of work published in this was a sort of notional evaluation. If you did this, this would happen, these would be the sorts of costs that we think would be saved. And the current iteration is looking at what is actually being done, the actual impact of the work, and therefore the probable actual savings. And really proving cost savings is the trump card we've really got to develop at the current time. That illustrates the triangulation, which I've mentioned already. The other things that the Alliance are involved in are in political lobbying and other forms of lobbying to get the findings of the work and of the manifesto recommendations into the broader domain. The political lobbying it has considerable traction at the current time, and that's proving very interesting, and it's largely about the fact that prison doesn't work if you can't afford it. Individual briefings with members of Parliament, both the House of Commons and the House of Lords, meetings with government departments and civil servants in the Ministry of Justice, in the Department of Health, with the Youth Justice Board and a number of others, and with criminal justice practitioner bodies such as the Sentencing Council and the Magistrates Association. And while we broadly welcome quite a lot of the Breaking the Cycle Green Paper, we're nevertheless disappointed that there isn't more in it about the specific age group of young adults and about transition arrangements, and we are hoping and working quite hard to ensure that a bit more is said about that in the White Paper. As well as political lobbying, the Alliance has an active media campaign and has had a number of pieces of good coverage raising these issues, in the broader public space. And finally, the current political landscape. Those are the sort of key issues of it. There are things we all know very well by now. So in this current financial and political context, opportunities are presenting themselves to advance the agenda of what is right for young people, because most unusually, really, what would be better in this instance would also actually be cheaper than what's currently done. Next year, we're going to focus in the main on two areas. The first being making the case about maturity. Social science, neuroscience, and common sense are all on our side. Young adults mature at different rates, and many are not fully adults until into their mid-20s. And looking around the room, I can tell there are a lot of us in this room that have got some indoors that prove the point. And the second area of work will be on localism. We'll be making the case not just in Westminster and Whitehall, as we have been doing, but in the Town Hall and to wherever else power is being currently devolved.